death as she worked behind the counter of a Southside convenience store. She was murdered even though she did not resist an armed robbery attempt. Johanne Loshard is live outside where it all happened. So, Johanne, do police have any clues in this case?
Well, luckily, Leslie, police do have surveillance video. However, they're not ready to release it at this hour. As you can imagine, because of the sensitive nature of what's on that tape, it has to be heavily edited. But I can tell you, investigators are eager to get the public involved in solving this cold-blooded killing. Now, the shooting happened during an attempted robbery last night just after 8 p.m. here at Primo's Food Mart in the 4000 block of Commercial. According to a police report, 62-year-old Clemencia Jimenez was shot twice immediately after an armed gunman demanded cash from her. And it appears from the surveillance video that Jimenez was attempting to comply with the gunman's orders when he simply opened fire.
But everything that we see shows that she was working there, working hard to earn a living, and she complied with the demands to give the money, and she was shot.
Now, another store employee witnessed the shooting and was shot at, but he managed to escape unharmed. However, Jimenez, a woman everyone in the neighborhood knew as Mona, was found behind the counter with a bullet wound to her arm and another to her chest. She was pronounced dead a short time later at Wilford Hall. Now, police assure us they're going to make surveillance video available as soon as possible, but bear with me. I'm going to show you a scan of some images from that surveillance video. As you can see, it shows a suspect wearing a baseball cap, an Old Navy gray sweatshirt, and he makes his getaway in that vehicle you see right there. It appears to be either a Ford Taurus or a Ford Sable. Now, police are hoping anyone who might recognize these images will give them a call, use that Crime Stoppers number. Reporting live here outside of police headquarters, Johanne Loshard, KSAT 12 News. Though he was only 22, Marine Corporal Jose Galvan had already done 2 complete tours of Iraq. Galvan was killed on his 3rd tour on November 5th while serving in Fallujah.
And I'm extremely proud of what he's done for us. That, like the pastor said, he died for our right to be in there celebrating as Christians. And I thank him for that.
Besides becoming a Marine, Galvan, who was known to friends as Gonzo, was proudest of being part of the 2003 champion national drill team at Holmes High School.
They see Gonzo as a person in which they would love to emulate because he stood for everything that we try to teach them: honor, service, dedication, and perseverance.
And even in death, Galvan's church and family believe he can still be a role model, now serving as a patriot. Reporting here just west of downtown, Johanne Loshard, KSAT 12 News. The Diamond Shamrock at 181 and 1604 is a tranquil spot, perfect for travelers who might want to stop, rest, and perhaps picnic. But in the pond, just behind the tables, lives a little-known danger not everyone believes.
Oh, yeah, we hear a lot of stories. Yeah, it's a big one. It's at least 6 feet.
Though Jody doesn't want to be seen, she says she has laid eyes on a monster as mysterious as the Loch Ness. This was the best picture she'd been able to take of it. But today, when she used the bait and wait strategy, her story proved to be no crock.
She has a huge face, a long face, and the teeth on it is unbelievable.
From the looks of it, this gator is good and hungry. The gator's presence explains the disappearance of other wildlife.
See, when we first moved here, we had dogs, we had pelicans, we had cranes, right, and all the dogs, beautiful, and then all of a sudden, they don't come there no more.
In fact, we watched as the gator stalked an egret that wisely began looking toward higher ground. The landowner says the gator, now known as Poncho, just showed up one day, and she says despite calls to Texas Parks and Wildlife, no one has come to get it. A game captain with Texas Parks and Wildlife says he has no record of a gator complaint. In the meantime, the landowner has posted private property signs in the hopes of keeping trespassers away. However, from where Irene sits, that's not working.
Oh, Pila, look at those little children running down there because they don't know. Well, look at the dogs. It's going to eat a dog one of these days.
Johanne Loshard, KSAT 12 News. Good afternoon, Mark. I talked to one of the candidates today, and he said winning this election will be simple. It's a matter of getting just one more vote than the other guy. To fight voter complacency, Democratic candidate Ciro has recruited an army of block walkers. Their job today is to get people up and out to the polls. Rodriguez feels his understaffed, underfunded, and downright underdog campaign has just enough momentum to unseat the incumbent Republican candidate.
As far as I'm concerned, we're going to pull this one off because it's about who gets the votes out and who makes it happen. And I think we have a lot of people out there, a lot of energy. We're excited, and we got a lot of people walking the streets and making sure they're knocking on the doors and getting the votes out.
Thank you. I know we probably called you several times.
You have, like 2 or 3 times a day.
All right.
Thank
But we
you.
want to make sure everybody remembers because the turnout traditionally is lower during runoffs.
But Representative Henry Bonilla is not taking anything for granted in this dogfight. Though he has 14 years in the House of Representatives, he failed to get 50% of the vote in the general election. So today, Bonilla is out here pressing the flesh with voters at Chavano Park, reminding them of his years of work as a Washington lawmaker.
It's a real privilege to be in the House of Representatives. I've been doing this for a few years now, and every day is a new experience. Every year is a new experience, and I'll just keep doing this as long as the voters will have me. And so far, they're coming out and being very supportive, and we're looking forward to a victory.
Now, as you can imagine, voter turnout is going to make or break either campaign. Bexar County Elections Administrator Jackie Callanan expects rather low turnout today, but there was high turnout during the early voting period, with as many as 18,500 casting their vote before today's runoff election. Reporting live here on the Northwest Side, Johanne Loshart, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you very much, Joanne. She joins us with the latest.
You are correct. There is at least one person dead as a result of this house fire on Westshire, but there are at least 2 children who are unaccounted for. We don't know if there was a 5-year-old or a 1-year-old in the house. There are 2 survivors right now, but since this story is still developing, I'm still collecting eyewitness testimony as to what they saw overnight, and joining me live now is John Pease. He is a neighbor who awoke to find his neighbor screaming, looking for help. Talk to me about when you woke up and what you saw.
Well, I was already awake, but it was about 5:20 or maybe 5:30 in the morning. I at first heard, sorry, 4:20. I heard him yelling, but it's unintelligible because they are deaf and mute. So I didn't know what he was yelling about. I looked out the window. I had picked up the phone already to call 911 because I knew something was going on. And when I looked out the window, I saw him roaming back and forth, shaking his hand outside the home to let them know. They have 2 different lights. As far as I know.
John Pease, a neighbor out here on Westshire in the 7200 block, telling me what happened so far. We have confirmed at least 1 fatality. That is Rosa Ramirez, a woman in her 50s. Her husband, Julio Ramirez, survived, as did her daughter-in-law, Connie Garza. But as I said before, there are at least 2 children who are unaccounted for only because they have not been seen. It was known that there was a 5-year-old, one of whom went to school with Mr. Pease's daughter over at Mary Hall. We don't know if she was in the house overnight or not, and a 1-year-old. Reporting live here on the West Side, Johanne Loshart, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Joanne, keep us posted. Joanne?
Well, those details are still coming in. In fact, we're waiting for someone from SAPD to come and talk to us, but I can't tell you what's going on at the scene right now. Behind me, you see a home in the 1000 block of Brunswick, and just behind this Mazda pickup truck is where the victim is lying. This is where he fell and ultimately died, according to police. This after about a block-long chase by police. Now, we don't know what prompted this pursuit, but we do know that the officer felt threatened enough to both use pepper spray as well as a 50,000-watt taser on this suspect. Upon tasering this man, he went into cardiac arrest. Keep in mind, this is a 35-year-old man. He went into cardiac arrest. Upon seeing his distress, the officer then began CPR on the man. He did CPR until EMS arrived, as far as we understand, and they kept on the work at least for a short period of time until it became obvious that there was simply no resuscitating the man. Currently, I can tell you that an evidence technician is on the scene, part of this ongoing investigation into this officer-involved death. Reporting live here on the South Side, Johanne Loshart, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Joanne. 5:30.
It's cleanup day for the residents here on Dealey Place. You can see by the watermark on this house that the floodwaters came up just past my shoulders. That water coming from the 6 Mile Creek that runs just behind this house. The damage is everywhere you look. Take a look at this patio. It took the homeowner a year to build it, and it took Mother Nature just one day to wash away. But it does not compare to the damage that's done inside this house. This home was flooded out back in 1998, and now it's waterlogged again. Joe Torres is helping the homeowner clean up.
Last night we cleaned up, take everything out of the furniture and stuff, and refrigerator and stuff, and today we're just going to clean out the rest what we can.
The cleanup must seem like an overwhelming job for residents, one they've had to do before and one they may have to do again. The 6 Mile Creek is now back within its banks, but that's no consolation to the folks that live here on Dealey Place. They are now worried what Hurricane Dean will bring. Reporting here on the south side, Johanne Loshard, KSAT-TV News.
And
Dean Harper, co-op by for Dean Harper Realtors.
A lot of cars parked at a hotel near the medical center. Our Johanne Loshard is live with tonight's top story. Johanne, I understand these guys worked like a tag team.
They sure did, Eric. One of them would act as a lookout while another would slip into targeted vehicles, going in to steal whatever high-end electronics they could find. Now, police tell me they did this as many as 5 times before being arrested late this afternoon. Now, the 2 suspects who were arrested are documented gang members. They'd been arrested after allegedly burglarizing several vehicles parked outside the Marriott Hotel on Loop 410. And when they were stopped, police found several stolen items inside their car, everything from portable DVD players to stereo amplifiers. The men were caught thanks to a private eye doing surveillance in the area.
There was some information from a private investigator which led to an identification of a suspect vehicle, and officers found these individuals still driving around the area.
The suspects each face up to 3 counts of burglary, but I'm told more could be added if investigators can link them to other car break-ins in the area. Reporting live downtown, Johanne Loshard, KSAT-TV News.
All right, thanks, Johanne. New at 5:30, a wheelchair.
I remember